Anytime you're shortcutting it, you're probably cheating some people. Players play. Tough players win.
Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Centered Podcast. Once again, for those of you joining us for the very first time, I am your host, Anthony Ianni, a former Michigan State basketball player and the first Division I college basketball player with an autism diagnosis. And again, thank you guys so much for joining us. If you'd like to hear more episodes of the Centered Podcast, you can find us on iTunes, Spotify, and now Odyssey.com, which is formerly radio.com. So please check us out on there. Please give us a like, rate, and review the podcast. If you want to follow us on Facebook, please go to the Centered Podcast, subscribe, like this video, share with others, and please continue the support. And we thank you guys again. Also want to give a special shout out and thank you to my producer, Will Gatson. Will does an incredible job making sure the interviews get set up, making sure everything's edited. So my guy, Will, does an incredible job, and give him a lot of credit and a lot of support too. Just very thankful for Will's support and as well as his friendship. So my special guest here on the Centered Podcast today is a guy who I got to meet in his class, believe it or not, a little over a year and a half ago. And I was doing a motivational presentation on anti-bullying, which I do through the Relentless Tour, which is my anti-bullying initiative. You want to go check that out, relentlesstour.com. Check me out. And so I was in the class giving a speech, and I look in the back of the classroom, and I recognized this individual, and some of his other teammates were there as well. So it was Antjuan Simmons, Jalen Naylor, and Jaden Reed. I recognized Antjuan right off the bat. And he came up afterwards, we talked for a little bit, and then we stayed in touch ever since. I followed the rest of his football career at Michigan State, had a heck of a career. I mean, not just college, but he had an incredible high school career too. I mean, he was an ESPN top 300 player. He was, Prep Star 350s, top 350 player as one of the best prospects in the country. Played at Ann Arbor Pioneer High School, where he was a two-time Free Press Dream Team selection. He was chosen to the USA Today's All-Michigan First Team. He was rated the #1 outside linebacker in the country, #2 in the Midwest by Scout.com. I mean, I go on and on and on. He was one of the top 10, top 5 players in the entire state of Michigan. Played both linebacker and running back. And he had offers from everywhere, not just Michigan State, but he was committed to Ohio State for a little bit, which we'll get into during the interview about why he decommitted. He had offers from Arizona State, Notre Dame, LSU, Michigan, Tennessee, Texas A&M, Penn State, just to name off a few. And then he comes to Michigan State, has an incredible career. He was a 4-year letter winner at Michigan State. He started in 2019, where he ended up being honorable mention All Big Ten as a junior, and as a senior, he earned second team All Big Ten after averaging almost 11 tackles a game, which was good for second in the conference. And now he's preparing for the next step, which is a professional football career. During the time of this recording, he hasn't been drafted yet because the draft takes place in a week. But I know in my heart, and a lot of people in Spartan Nation know, he's going to get picked up somewhere. He's an incredible player, but more importantly, he's one of the classiest guys I've ever met. And for a young college student, a guy about to go in the NFL, to have the class that he has and the generosity, an NFL team's going to get a great player and an even greater person. So hope everybody enjoys the interview, and with me and my special guest, Antjuan Simmons, former Michigan State football player and soon to be NFL player. Enjoy it, you guys. Just seeing everything that you've done at Michigan State, your leadership at Michigan State, I figured, Antjuan Simmons would be the perfect guy to have on to give a positive message for the week.
No, I definitely appreciate it. I definitely do. I remember when you had came into the class, I was in the back. Like I had came in like 5-10 minutes late or something, and I couldn't even find no seat. So I was literally sitting on the floor in the back of the class, and I couldn't even see you. Like I couldn't see you at all. All I'm doing is just hearing everything. And I'm like, man, who is this? He dropping some gems. Hold on.
That's a good place for us to start, man. Like that's how you and I met. And
yeah,
it wasn't just you in that class. It was Jalen Naylor, Jay
Jaden
Reed.
Reed. Yeah.
Yeah, he was in there too. And remember, I like you and Jalen were the first guys that I recognized right off the bat. And so, but I had to double check though. So I was asking your professor, Professor Johnson at the time, ask him. I said, Professor, was that Jalen Naylor? He goes, oh, let me check yeah, that was Jalen Naylor. I said, and that was Antjuan Simmons sitting next to him, right? He said, yep, that was Antjuan. He's like, those are my two favorite guys, man. So you definitely made good impressions on Professor Johnson, that's for sure.
Oh man, hey, and he was a tough critic too. I ain't gonna lie, man. The way he used to grade, like the way he used to like teach us. You know what I'm saying? All this expectations and stuff. He was a tough teacher. You know what I mean? So his class wasn't like an easy one of them easy breezy classes. Like you for real had to put in some work. You had to show up. Like he required a lot from his students, you know what I mean? So hey, just knowing he was my guy, that's that's more than enough.
And I think that's probably some of the favorite teachers I've ever had in my life is the teachers that tough on you and hold you accountable.
Yeah.
They make you better as a person and as a student. And I don't know if you feel that same way, but I've kind of always felt like that. If I ever had a teacher that held me accountable and the class accountable, I felt like it made me stronger, not just as a student, but as a person as well.
Oh, for sure. Because then, like every day, whether you get done with that 6 a.m. workout or after practice or something, you like, man, I don't want to go to class, but I got Mr. Johnson. He taking tally points, like all that, so I gotta show up on time.
So let's get into you a little bit, man. So growing up in Ann Arbor, Michigan. I mean, you and I are both former Spartans. We know what Ann Arbor is all about. But growing up in Ann Arbor at that time, were you a Michigan fan? Growing up during that time when you were in Ann Arbor?
Nah, I ain't even really spend too much time in Ann Arbor until I was like 12 years old. Really, I grew up in Ypsilanti, but that's like right next to Ann Arbor, though.
Right.
Like literally right next to Ann Arbor. But I ain't never really spent too much time in Ann Arbor, and I wasn't really no fan of either or, to be honest. But I want to say it was what game was it? It was the game where Michigan and Michigan State went into overtime, and the running back, I forgot his name, but he scored a touchdown in overtime. And they won the game off of that. It was like a 20-yard run or something like that, 25-yard run. And I remember that year because I was in 5th grade, and I had bet my teacher that Michigan State would win. And they won in overtime. So I came into school on Monday talking trash to her.
And that's when that was Larry Caper, 2009 at Spartan Stadium. And I remember that game because that was my first year back after transferring from Grand Valley State. And a lot of my teammates, kind of left the game early because they were up, like Michigan State was up 20-6 going into the 4th quarter. And everybody was like, yeah, like we got this. And then whatever happened, like seriously, it got cloudy. It started to rain. Michigan came back and tied, and we were like, "Oh God, man! Like here we go again." But that overtime, man, that was just incredible, man. So kind of like the first moment where you were like, Michigan State, is a team that I got to keep my eye on.
It was my my sophomore year actually, because my freshman year I had came in, like I first started spending some time in Ann Arbor, and I'm like, oh, like this is pretty nice. I went to the 4-day camp. It was all week long, being around the coaches and seeing the tradition and stuff like that. I was like, oh, this seems pretty cool. They had Devin Gardner there. Who else was there? And some other like Michigan football players and stuff. So we got to talk to them and whatnot. And so after that, I'm like, oh, Michigan's pretty cool. I like them. And sophomore year came around. And then I started getting recruited and stuff, and like they kind of never reached out or anything. And Michigan State was actually the very first school to invite me to a visit for on-campus visit for a game. And I went to the game versus Rutgers the senior day. I think it was Nick Hill's senior day. He played for my former head coach, Jari Brown. So I brought him and a few other coaches from the staff. We went up there, and literally it was like my eyes was like, boof, like this is unreal. You know what I mean? Just being in Spartan Stadium, getting to meet Coach D and everybody else on the staff. And that was like the big eye-opening point from that point on. It was like, just like, man, Michigan State, like they're a big time program. Like I really got a lot of respect, a lot of love for everybody in that program.
So I want to backtrack just a little bit, because I definitely want to talk about your high school career and obviously, you know, what kind of led up to choosing Michigan State. But so I think it was a couple of years ago. I think it was before the Tulsa game. So about 2 years ago in 2019, before you got your first start, there was an article in the Free Press that came out about you and your dad. And I kind of talked to you about that a little bit. So, and you don't have to share too much if you don't want to. It's completely up to you. But just kind of talk about that situation a little bit, because I was watching All Access the other day as I was doing more research on you, and you had talked about how you had just came home one day and you said, quote, it was like a tornado had came through our home. Just kind of talk about that experience a little bit.
No, like it was really like that. Like I literally woke up. I woke up and my little brother was in 5th grade at the time. So we were going to school at different times. I wake up an hour and a half before him. And so I'm waking up, get ready for school and stuff. My mom takes me to the bus stop, and it's a car like that was just sitting behind her at the bus stop. I'm like, who's that car? Like, that's where I've never seen that car in our neighborhood. So I go to track practice and I get back home. Well, my mom couldn't like pick me up. She didn't even show up. And I don't think my phone was on or whatever at the time, because I couldn't reach out to anybody. So one of my friends' brothers had to drop me off at home, and all the doors were locked. So I walk around to the back door, and I'm looking through the glass to see if anybody's there. And literally all the drawers are pulled out, mail thrown all over the place. Like all the cabinets are open. Like it literally looked like a storm came through the house, messed everything up, and then just completely vanished. It was no footprints. Nothing was ripped apart. Literally papers just thrown all over the house, dressers open. Like it was insane. And then so I literally I went through a window because that's the only way I could get into the house. So as soon as I get in, I'm in the house within like 10 minutes or so. My mom comes walking in, and she's like kind of like sad and stuff. And I'm like what happened? Like, what's going on? And she's like, that's when she had told me, like, you know, they came and got your dad. I'm like, who? She's like, the police. And I'm like what police though? Like, you know what I mean? And that's when she told me it's the who was it? It's U.S. Marshals, I do believe, came and picked up my dad. And I was like, I mean, I know if like U.S. Marshals go and pick up somebody, it's like pretty serious. And
Right.
And so I asked my mom, I was like, so he's not coming back at all. He shouldn't be back anytime soon, huh? And she's like, yeah, he won't be back for a while. And then as time went on, it's kind of like one of those things, okay, like he'd be gone for sometime around this time, and then his court date came and stuff, and then we're like, all right, like he'd be gone for this amount of years, you know what I mean? But it was definitely rough though.
How old were you when all that went down?
12. It was literally 2 months before my 13th birthday.
So as a 12-year-old, to see all that and to witness all of that, like, and again, like, and I don't know if you remember it or not, but just like how did you process all of that at that young of an age, to witness everything that was going down, to witness what was going on in court? Like, how did you process that as a soon to be 13-year-old?
Honestly, my parents just, like, my mom, she did a good job at pretty much just shielding us from everything. Like, she literally like just covered us with her body pretty much, you know what I mean? Like, it was tough for the most part, like just trying to like grasp everything, trying to understand like that. I mean, my dad was probably not going to be here for the next 10 to 20 years, you know, depending on how his case went and stuff. But it was tough. And I didn't really start talking. Until I want to say about halfway through my freshman year of high school, like towards the end of my freshman year. That's when I started like talking again, like being a little bit more open. because I had a dog at the time. I had a dog, and she was getting pretty old, and she ended up getting sick. So literally within about 6 months, to a year afterwards, my dog literally passed away on me. So
Man,
so I had two whammies.
seriously.
But no, it was like my mom, she had to, really, get me to open up again. And me and her and my little brother, we just started talking and leaning on each other. And since then, our relationships just gotten like way closer, way stronger. And even with my dad, like throughout all that, I talked to my dad like pretty much all the time. The only thing was that I just wasn't able to see him, So
Right.
before he got released, last time I saw my dad was, I want to say 2015, I think it was 2016. So I went about 4 or 5 years without seeing my dad.
So when you talk about opening up, like those years you didn't open up, and when you finally did it kind of feel like that a 500-pound weight was taken off your shoulder? Was it just letting out the anger and frustration? Like,
yeah, because I wasn't doing much talking. I was just doing a lot of like working out and like training. Luckily, I had a coach that was by the name of Darnell Baldwin. He was like really big into boxing and like super, super big into boxing. He grew up boxing and doing mixed martial arts and stuff like that. And he was my coach for 3 years in Detroit Pal. So he'd take me. So after the season, he started taking me and me and my little brother to boxing and stuff like that. And then my dad had went away, and it got hard. It got hard for me getting there and stuff. So he literally started coming out to my house to get me and my little brother to take us to boxing, and he'd come get us at like 4 or 5 in the afternoon, and we'd get back at like 8, 9 o'clock every day, and still have to do homework, of course. But that, like, going to boxing for that like 8 to 10 months, that was literally like what was getting me through that little period. Because like if it wasn't for that like immediate thing I was able to do, like I don't know where I would have been, because that's where I was like releasing all my emotions and like frustrations and stuff like that. Because I mean, all I had to do was just punch stuff, and then I did that for about a few months. My first 2 months just boxing, like shadow boxing and stuff. And then I had told him like I want to like get in a ring, you know what I mean? Like I want to like spar, like really spar. He's like, all right. Like all he had was like guys, like older guys who were like competing for like golden gloves and stuff like that, like competitive boxing. And so it was literally like dude really don't know too much to get in the ring with like a seasoned fighter. And my first like minute or so in there, I learned real quick, like you got to know how to control your emotions. Like you got to have everything under control if you want to be in the ring, because it's calculated, like you got to have a clear mind. Because the first like minute and a half, I was in there like just throwing punches, like getting real irritable, getting mad. And he's like, no, like when you miss, like that's even more of a chance to like, okay, like learning your opponent, just relaxing, not getting too worried or flustered about it, because that's what's gonna get you. You being in the ring, getting all mad and irritated, and then you throw a punch and boom, they come over the top of you.
I think that's the one thing, man, that impresses me with this is that at such a young age, like at 13, 14 years old, you found that coping mechanism, if you will, that helped you relieve all that stress and all that anger that was just built up inside of you. And, for me, my coping mechanism, it was basketball. Because
Right.
whenever I was stressed out, whether it was because of being on the autism spectrum, because of school, just outside stuff, whatever, I would just grab my mom's keys and be like, Mom, I'm going to the high school. I'll be gone for 2 hours. I'm going to go shoot.
Yeah.
That was my happy place, if you will, just to get away from everything. But with me, though, it took me until about I was 16 years old to figure out what that coping mechanism was.
Yeah.
For you, though, you basically found it and you stuck to it, and you figured out right away, like, hey, this is the one place where I can just get away from everything. I can go, I can go this bag over here and hit this as hard as I can, just let it all out. And I think that's pretty impressive, man. And I think I've always, and I'm sure you probably would do the same, is to encourage others, no matter how old you are. If you find something that relaxes you or just releases that anger and stress, that whatever that coping mechanism is, just to stick to it.
Oh no, for sure. For sure. I tell people all the time, find something you like doing, find something you love doing, because it's always a safe space for you. You know what I mean? You can always just go to it anytime you want, whether you're down, whether you're up, and you can always depend on it to make you feel better, or at least give you some relief from everything that's going on around you. You know what I mean? You can just clear your head out, just get your mind off of everything.
So do you think the toughness of being in that boxing gym, those workouts, and your dad's situation, do you think that kind of set you up for what you were about to endure when you started playing football?
Yeah, because during that time I was talking to my coach, and he's like, well, high school, you're going to, what's your goals like when you get there and stuff. So then I started thinking and like being like, man, what do I want to do? And then at that time, it was a running back that was coming out of Pioneer. His name was Drake Johnson.
Yeah.
And he was like a dog. He was a dog on the track, dog on the field. He ran like he has what do you run in the 110 hurdles? Like a 13.4, like 13, like something insanely fast. And he was like a freak on the football field. He had like 30 some touchdowns one year, like 3,000 rushing yards. Like he was just a beast. So I started doing some research on him, and I'm like, yeah, I think I want to go to Pioneer. I'd love to try to play varsity as a freshman. That doesn't get done too often there. Want to play running back. Like, this is what I want to do. And he's like, man, that's tough. That's a real big thing you want to do. It's not going to be easy. Like, you got to work for it. And literally from that point on, I was like, all right, like, I'm trying to play varsity as a freshman, so if I was just sitting around the house bored, I'd go outside and like just work out. Like, literally, I go on my back deck and I do like switch jumps on our back deck. Literally jump up and jump down them, just do a set of 25 push-ups, do jumps. I run around our subdivision. I was pretty much like doing anything, like just anything really. Just like, all right, I just know I got to be doing something to get better. So
you had the goal in mind. You were doing the extra work. Now you get to Pioneer. Did you get that first check mark off your goal list? Were you on varsity as a freshman?
Actually, I started out on the freshman team, and what's funny is my freshman class, like, we were like insane. Like, we had like 5 guys go Division I in my class, and just in my class alone. Wow. So we had so coming in freshman year, we were all good. Like, we were all like big name guys coming from the areas that we were in. So like people were like, people didn't really know us except one guy. He went to Ann Arbor Middle School, Cedric Benton. So people knew who he was already. And then so we were coming, me and my boy Derek, Justin Collier, we were coming in kind of like unknown. Didn't really nobody know us. So the first day, like through the like 7-on-7s and stuff like that, I was on the varsity team on 7-on-7 stuff because just how athletic I was. I played running back, wide receiver. I really only played offense that year, and then the JV team only had like 17 to 18 guys. So the JV coach was like, all right, I need at least one freshman. And he was like, I want Antjuan. And I came up and I was playing running back and primarily linebacker at the time because he wanted me to play linebacker. And then after 2 games, the varsity running back, a few of the running backs were banged up. Like, all of them were. My boy Malik, he had a sprained ankle. Then another guy, he was young, like he was a sophomore on varsity, so he was still figuring everything out. And then those were the only 2 running backs actually. So they moved me up, and my first game on varsity against Tecumseh, they had a huge middle linebacker. He had to be like 6'2", like 230, 240.
Oh wow.
Like huge. And it was like the second quarter or something. I had took a handoff, and all I saw was a big hole, and he was standing in the center of it. And me being a young kid, I'm like, ain't nowhere else to go but through him. So I literally ran straight at him and boom, tried to run him over. Man, I saw nothing but light when I hit him. I said, whoa, these are big boys. I'm like, these some big boys. I ain't doing that no more. Because on freshman day, I used to just be running through dudes, like
right.
and like doing whatever I wanted. On varsity, they was like, no, that's not flying, dude. I had like the first game, I had like 30 carries for like 90 something yards and a touchdown. And the touchdown that I got though, that's probably like the best one of the best touchdowns I had in high school. Like I had got the ball just on a power play, and it was from like the 12 or 13 yard line. And I was just stumbling and bumbling all the way to the goal line. Some like literally my teammates were like holding me up, like dragging me and stuff. But I ended up storing and sealing the game for us.
Man, that's big time. And then fast forward to your sophomore year, you became you were the only sophomore that year to be on the all-conference first team, the all-SEC red first team, and you had 36 tackles as a linebacker. I don't know what your stats were as a running back that year, but so obviously you're running back and linebacker now. Did you always, so as you were being recruited, were you telling these schools that, hey, I like more the running back, or were you more like, no, like I want to be a linebacker. If you're going to recruit me, I want you to recruit me as a linebacker.
No, I was telling them athlete. Every single one.
Okay.
I'm an athlete. I don't know what I want to play. So like my sophomore year at Michigan Elite, I was playing wide receiver, running back, like everything. So my sophomore year, I was behind Bryce Young Walls. That's my boy. He played running back at Grand Valley right now.
Okay.
And I was behind him, and he was the Washtenaw County Player of the Year that year. So I wasn't getting no touches as a running back, none. So I told them, I say, man, hey, I'm good at receiver. I'm gonna eat at wide receiver. So like, just throw me out there. So man, I was like feasting at wide receiver. It didn't matter what it was. I'm telling it was I think Adrian. We had ran power, and I had ran like I was about to like run a slant or like go block the corner. He kind of bit down, and I stutter stepped and had stacked him for a fade, but I just played it off, like just messing with the kid. And as soon as I turn around, I see the coaches. I see my wide receiver coach pointing at the corner like, yeah, next play, throw a fade to Twan right now. And sure enough, threw a fade to me.
And you caught it, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Making sure about
that.
For sure. So when did you get your first official offer as a recruit?
Like the end of my towards the end of my sophomore year is Miami of Ohio. I think it was like May or something like that. And then I ended up getting 8 MAC offers and Illinois by the time June came around, I think it was. It was like right when the school year ended was when Illinois had offered me. And they actually, at the time, they offered me as a safety because they didn't think I was going to grow into being a linebacker. So they was like we see you playing a strong safety in our system. So they were like, yeah, we like you as strong safety. And they were the first school that was like distinctive, like we want you as a safety, as a defensive player. And then I went to like 25 camps that summer, and I didn't get a single offer off any one of them, like one of them. And I was going to him as a running back linebacker, safety, wide receiver. Like I would in one-on-ones, I do both running back and linebacker. And I do wide receiver stuff. I do corner stuff. Then in 7-on-7, I play safety, just to get reps. You know what I mean? And then every school would just be like, yeah, we didn't see enough. We didn't think you were fat. We don't think you're quite fast enough yet. We don't think you're big enough. This is and a third. We want to see how you do during the season. And my first 3 games, made a bunch of plays, sent them out to the schools, and from that point on, it was like every school in the country was calling me then.
I mean, I got your junior year stats right here. I mean, as a running back, you had 1,112 yards, 18 touchdowns on 148 carries, which is very impressive. And then defensively, you had 68 stops, 8 tackles for loss, 1 forced fumble on defense, and you were all defensive selection to the AP Division I, II, first team All-State. And you were also the Ann Arbor News Offensive Player of the Year. So now that you're basically showing these schools like, hey, this is what I can do. This is what you're gonna get. Is that when things really started to roll in for you after that, recruiting wise?
Yeah. I want to say it was like the end of September. It was like, yeah, it's the end of September. It was like week 4, week 5 for us. And I was training with Daryl Graham at the time. He had Mike Weber, John Kelly, Junior McMullen, Justin Rogers, all these high profile players to come that came out the city of Detroit. And he had called me. He was like, yeah, Notre Dame wants to offer you, but you have to call him right now. And I was literally in class. And I'm like, I text him like, nah, you playing. You not serious. Not like Notre Dame. He like, yeah, like they want to offer you. They want to talk to you first though. They got to see, they want to talk to you. I'm like, all right. I literally told my teacher, I'm like, I gotta go talk to Notre Dame right now. Like right now.
I would have been like, dude, you're just doing this to get me in trouble in school right now. Like, no way. They're not doing that. Like, no.
Like when I told the teacher that, the teacher was like, no. She's like, no, you got to sit down. You're not leaving the class right now. And I'm like, what do you mean? This is Notre Dame.
Like, what do I got to do to prove to you that they're offering me just right? Yeah. Do you want me to call them right here at your desk? Because I will. I'll put it on speaker just for you.
No, literally. And that's how literally, luckily my boy Justin was in there and a bunch of USA hockey players was in there as well. And one of them was committed to Notre Dame. So he was like, no, go. Like, no, just leave. Just go. Just go. Like, just go. Stop talking. Just go. So I'm like, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Miss Thompson. But like, I gotta step out the class right now. I'll be back in like 5-10 minutes. That's all I need. And sure enough, when I came back into the class, she's like looking at me. I'm like, yeah, I got offered by Notre Dame. I got a scholarship from Notre Dame.
Oh man, that's awesome. That's a good story, man. Like, cause like I said, if one of my buddies or coaches would have texted me in the middle of class saying, I'll just throw this out there. Hey, Alabama, they want to offer you, but you call them right now.
Yeah.
No. Yeah. Okay. I think you're just like, no, like you just want me to get in trouble so I can go to the principal's office for once in my life. Like,
no, for real. No, when I stepped out in the hallway, I literally called my trainer. I was like, wait, you serious or you just messing with me right now? Like, don't be playing with me. I walked out of class for this.
Oh man. So let's go through some of the offers that you got. Obviously you mentioned Notre Dame, Miami of Ohio. Just name a few off here. You had Ohio State, Arizona State, Arkansas, Georgia, Kentucky, LSU, the U, Miami, Michigan. You mentioned Notre Dame, Penn State, Tennessee, and Texas A&M. So I want to ask you about before I ask you what your final 5 were. I want to ask you about the Michigan offer because obviously you had, again, you're playing at Pioneer, and you're right across from the Big House. That offer comes in from Michigan. Are people getting in your ear now? Like, hey, go play across the street. Like, go play in the Big House. Like, were people getting your ear about that?
Oh yeah, for sure. Like it was like it didn't get bad never got bad until when I committed to Ohio State. When I committed to Ohio State, then it became like teachers were like throwing jabs and little stuff at me. I had one teacher, she was a substitute.
Mm-hmm.
Every time I had her as a sub, all she do was just talk trash and like bash on me.
Oh, jeez.
Like it was bad. Like it was bad. Like it got to a point where one of my coaches at the time, John Loss, he told her, he's like, leave him alone. You're talking crap to a high schooler. You're 50 something years old and he's 16, 17. Let him live his life. Like he's happy. He's in a good place. Like why you keep messing with him? There's no point. And
I feel like it's with any recruit that goes to a rival school. Like if a kid in East Lansing, for example, goes to East Lansing High School or goes to Okemos, my hometown, that's basically Michigan State territory, as you know.
Right.
But if the kid comes down between Michigan State and Michigan and they pick Michigan or they pick Ohio State, everybody just rags on the kid. And sometimes I think fans forget, like, these are 16, 17-year-old kids who make the best decision, for their future. Now, am I one of those individuals that wants every single big-time recruit to go to Michigan State? Absolutely. And it's the same with you. You want every single big-time recruit to come to Michigan State because of the experiences that you and I both had at our respective programs. But I just think sometimes people forget, like, hey, just because, I'll use you as an example. Just because I go to Ohio State doesn't mean I'm a bad person. Like,
right.
I'm going because it's what's best for me. It's where I want to go. And I was talking to Jordan Morgan about this on my first episode of the Center podcast. And Jordan went to Michigan. He picked Michigan because they have a great engineering program.
Yeah.
But basketball at the time, was a struggle for Michigan. And then they were great when he left. But, he was all about, hey, I'm going here because it's all about my future. And I think sometimes, fan bases tend to forget that because all they see are the 4 stars, the 5 stars, like those rankings. And it's like, oh man, like, oh, you're going to go to Ohio State over us? Like, yeah, we don't like you anymore. It's like,
yeah. All they see
some slack.
Yeah. Like all they're doing is like, all they see is like this kid not going to the store they want. You know what I mean? They're not thinking about everything that goes into that process. Like, as far as like recruiting, they're not thinking about how that kid is feeling on a visit, what he may experience on a visit, or how that coaching staff or whatever deals with him and his family. They're not paying attention to any of that. They're not even trying to understand any of that. All they're
behind the scenes stuff.
Exactly. All they're seeing is literally if this kid chooses their school or not, and that's all they care about. Nothing else. That's it.
And again, like I love our fan base as you do because they want our programs to be successful. But like when you go on Twitter and you bash a kid for choosing another school over you, I sit back and go, come on, man. Like,
yeah,
this is one of the reasons why I hate Twitter, because just leave him alone. Like his decision was made. And it's like, am I disappointed? Absolutely. But I'm not going to go over here on Twitter on my computer and be like, oh yeah, like I hope you fail. Like, no, man.
Yeah.
That's the last thing you ought to do.
Because like we had a kid committed, Rayshawn Benny. That's my boy. Went to Oak Park, and I was talking to him. I helped recruit him, helped get him to commit and stuff. And then day of signing, he flips to Michigan. I instantly text him like, my dude, you could have told me this was about to go on. Like what is this, man? Like that's crazy. You gonna do that? But at the same time, I told him, I say, man, I'm not mad at you or nothing. As long as you feel you made the right decision. If you made the right decision, that so be it. You still gonna be my boy. I'm still gonna show love, support you. You know what I mean? Whatever you need, just let me know. I still got you on it.
I was in that same boat. Like, I was getting texts from everybody saying, oh, we're good. It's Michigan State. And then when he took his Michigan State stuff down the next day, I was like, oh man. But however, though, was I disappointed we lost him to Michigan? Absolutely. But then there's also the part of me that's going to be like, oh, well, it'll be even more sweeter to beat Michigan in football now, I guess, right?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Man, I can't imagine how you're going to feel after this upcoming year. So you were committed to Ohio State at the time. So what made you want to switch? What made you want to decommit? Pretty much like I was talking about earlier, like just recruiting and stuff. Recruiting kind of changed. Just some things that had happened. I was kind of like, I don't really kind of like how that's being done. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if I can jump on board with that. It was just so much that was going on at that time with my class coming in. I was like, I don't know about that one. Like, I don't know if I can be on board with that. That's just not me. So I just took a visit to Michigan State. I didn't say anything to nobody. I didn't feel like I had to at the time. And they were a little fired up about, a little mad about it, and kind of made the relationship a little sour after that. So I think it's after I went to the Michigan game, and then I got back from the Michigan game. And then the next Sunday, that's when I had called them. I was like, yeah, just decommit. I don't think it's any reason for me to be stay committed and stuff. And then from that point on, they kind of like tried to like keep me from going public and stuff with it. But I was fully like mentally like, yeah, I'm good. You know what I mean? Like I'm decommitted at this point. It's nothing that you're gonna do to like get me to get me back like with you guys for real. And then and what's crazy,
it's your decision too. It's your decision too, because like I feel like if a school that you decommit from says, well, we don't want people to know about, like, why? Like it's my recruiting process. Like, why do you care so much?
Right. And they actually came to the store the very next day. Like I talked to them Sunday night, and Coach Combs came to the store, and we were talking. We had a real conversation. You know what I mean? It was real on both ends. My end, his end. I voiced my concerns and the way that I was feeling and stuff. He voiced his, and I'm sorry, my dogs are a little amped up right now.
No, you're good, man. You're good. My wife kind of goof around when I was doing my intro and outro the other day, so it's all good, man. That's why I love doing the podcast, man. You never know.
I'm surprised the kids ain't ran behind you yet.
Oh, my kids, man, they're in bed at 7:00, and
Really?
they're out like that within 5 minutes.
Yeah. Oh, you're lucky.
Oh, dude, I'm lucky and very blessed that they are heavy sleepers, man. Like they don't even wake up during thunderstorms in the middle of the night. Whereas when I was a kid, I would get scared out of my mind, and I would just like.
I was terrified as a kid.
And then my kid will wake up next morning, and I'll ask him, Knox, who's my oldest, Knox, you hear the storm last night? Nah, no, I didn't. I was like, okay. So like I said, man, but don't be surprised if I ever do a podcast in the future and my little ones are sitting next to me one day.
Yeah.
Who knows? Maybe I'll do a podcast with them one day, specifically them.
Hey, you never know. They might be able to run it for you one day.
Hey, you never know, man. You never know. So Ohio State is basically out the door now. So who were the final five for you?
Michigan State, Arizona, and Notre Dame, really. UCLA was actually in it. I was doing a lot of talking to UCLA, and I actually had an official visit planned. I planned to go out there, and I literally flew to Arizona, and literally at that time I wasn't really comfortable flying. So at that time I had told my mom, I'm like, UCLA, mom, that's like another hour and a half from Tucson. Like that's a long way from home, and the plane ticket is a lot of money too. I don't know if I can do it, mom. Like I ain't even gonna lie to you, I don't know. And because we were both looking forward to going out there, and then took the flight back, and when we landed, I'm like, mom, I don't think I can go that far away from home. Not that far. Like Arizona is pushing it. Like that's pushing it. But UCLA, like I can't do that. So literally that night I landed, I literally texted the UCLA coach. I was like, man, I'm sorry. Like, I really appreciate you guys. But it's just too far for me. After going on my visit to Arizona, I realized like that plane ride is not something that I can make, all the time. Like I'm gonna miss my mom. Like she's somebody that I want to come to my games and be able to see me play and stuff. So that was like one of the big things of me choosing Michigan State.
So what was the other than being closer to family, what was the selling point from, whether it's from Coach D or, whoever, whether it was Coach Tressel, Coach D, what was kind of the main selling point that made you go, yeah, I'm coming to Michigan State. I'm not changing my mind about it.
Really just everything after I had decommitted, really. Like after they had decommitted, after I had decommitted, it was honestly from that point on, I had like 15 schools come in to Pioneer, like literally within the next 2 days, wanting to talk to me. And but Michigan State was like in a whole nother ballpark as everybody else, them in Arizona. Like they just felt like real. The love was there. I was familiar with Michigan State. I always was around them as a kid. You know what I mean? I might not have been a fan or whatever, but I still paid attention to them. I had family members that went to Michigan State. So I just really just had a lot of respect for the coaching staff. And it was kind of like we just repaired the relationship, built on it and stuff. And now I'm here.
So definitely, like you said, it was a lot of the coaches being real with you. I mean, the atmosphere. So basically, and you went out the way you wanted to go out your senior year, man. I mean, I could throw out all the accolades that you did as a senior. I mean, impressive. So now you're at Michigan State, and you basically were in action from day one. And by 2019, you were a starter. And then 2020, you became one of the captains for the team. So in the 3 years that you played for Coach D, what was that experience like, playing for Coach D'Antonio, basically toward the end of his career? Of course, we didn't know that at the time, but what was that like, just getting to play for Coach D the 3 years that you were able to?
It was special. I still love Coach D to this day. I still talk to Coach D. He literally randomly called me or just text me just to see how I'm doing. Like it literally comes out of nowhere. Like literally, like you'll go it like 2 months ago by and he just call you. Like he had called me when was it? The beginning of January. And I didn't speak to Coach D since he had retired at the time. Since he retired. And he literally called me. He was like, what's up, Antjuan? I just want to see what's going on, see how you doing, just check in on you, make sure you're all good and stuff. And me and him talked for like 10, 15 minutes. And but I mean, he loved you. He had extremely high expectations. And that's another reason why I came to Michigan State was through the whole recruiting process. It wasn't like he wasn't selling me on anything like, you come in, you'll be immediate day one starter. You'd be able to play immediately. It was just like this is what I see you doing. This is what I see of you. These are some of the things that I will expect of you because I know who you are as a person. But everything on the football field and stuff is going to be up to you. You know what I mean? You're going to have to put that work in and make all these dreams and stuff come true. But I can definitely help you do all that. This is and the third. But no, Coach D he was fired up, intense, everything you can ask from in a coach. You know what I mean? He's a player's coach. And then he's just a heck of a dude to be around. He'd come in and he'd have this look in his eye. And we're all like, oh, man, he's fired up today. and he starts out the meeting with a joke or something. And we're all looking at each other like, do we laugh or not? And he's like, that was a joke. You guys can laugh.
Coach is the same way, man. Like when he comes in, and I don't know if Coach D does this, like Coach will walk in the film room, clap, go, all right, here we go. And it's like, all right, no, now we're serious. Then he tries to make a joke, if we're watching film in practice and somebody trips, he'll go, oh, well, what happened there, AI? Did a sniper get you there? And do we laugh about that?
Yeah.
And then he'll be like, oh, like Keith Appling fell. What happened there, Keith? Did you not see the line? I mean, what's going on? And we're all just like, Do we? Then he's like, it's okay. It's a joke. You can laugh now. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, hey. But like that, I always felt like Coach D and Coach Iz were cut from the same cloth.
For sure. Like
Because
for
when
sure.
because when it came to their intensity, it was almost the same. When it came
Mm-hmm.
to preparation, their game planning, it was almost the same. When it came to establishing a family atmosphere and culture at Michigan State, I'm willing to bet that Coach D got that from Coach Iz, because as you know, man, like the one thing, and I talked about this the other day with Brandon Wood, is that it's not just the basketball players and the football players that are tight knit. You're tight knit with everybody on that campus, especially student athletes. So you're tight knit with the track and field athletes, the hockey team, wrestling, women's basketball, volleyball. Like, and that's why I've always told people, like, we are literally a family because we all have each other's backs. We may not like some people, but we still respect the heck out of each other because we represent one thing, and that's Michigan State. We're all Spartans. And obviously, Coach Iz and Coach D always pushed that narrative, especially when it came to the recruiting, like you mentioned.
Yeah, no, for sure. I've sat in on meetings with both of them together. I've sat in meetings with just other sports coaches, tennis, volleyball, baseball, softball, rowing, like all those coaches. And I'm like, wow, like these coaches like care about like the family atmosphere of their players. They want to make sure their players, are feeling appreciated. They're feeling loved. They feel like they're at home when they're here. Yeah. And another thing is, we all shared the same academic advisors. Yeah. We were all in the Smith together. We all be in the Smith together till about 9:00 at night. So going in there every day, every other day, we just be in there like, oh yeah, I seen you in here yesterday. What's your name? Yeah. And then you just get cool with everybody.
Same advisors, same tutors, same computer lab, everything, man.
Everything.
And same classes, all the good stuff. So I want to get to a couple more things here, and then we'll get to the fun part of the podcast. So obviously Coach D retires. I would imagine it was kind of out of the blue for you guys because it was just unexpected. We all thought, I honestly thought your senior year would have been his last year, and then he would have pick his predecessor and move on. That was I thought that's what was going to happen. And obviously he retires, and then, the athletic director and the athletic department are going through a coaching search. And then they bring in Mel Tucker. And some of us knew about Mel Tucker a little bit. I knew a little bit, from my dad's days at working at Michigan State. Now, when he walks in the first meeting, was it all business? Like, could you tell, like, okay, the culture's definitely heading in this direction now from where we were before? Like, could you tell, like, that there was going to be a different change of direction once he walked in the room?
From day one, from the first time I shook his hand, I literally shook his hand, and like the look he had in his eyes, like the look, I was like, oh, this man is serious. Like, he's serious. Like, he's serious. The first thing he said when he came in the meeting, he introduced himself, told us a little background on him and stuff, and then he's like, it's not gonna be easy. I plan on building a program that's built on hard work, toughness. I'm gonna really put you guys to the fire. So all I ask of you guys is, don't hurt women, don't hurt any animals, and stay out of trouble. You do those things. If you don't do, those are three things I can't help you with. I can't be on board with you. I can't help you through through any one of them three things. But you take care of business. You do what you're supposed to do. You show up on time and everything. You work hard. You win games, and you do things the right way. You're gonna be my guy.
So what was the difference between him and Coach D?
It's kind of hard to say, really. I'd say, other than the system, really was, Coach Tucker's like will to win, like his want to win. Oh my God. Like, I've never been around a coach like that. Like, he will chop his own hand off to win.
Wow.
Like, that's how serious he is about when, like, he wants to win. You know what I mean? Like, Like he really wants to win, and he doesn't just want to win. He wants to dominate. Like he wants to compete and beat the Ohio States, the Alabamas of the world, the Georgias, LSU. He wants to compete at the very highest level and win and dominate.
Mm-hmm. And you could just tell too with the way how him and the coaching staff have been doing in recruiting now. And now that they're going to get guys on campus next month, and in my opinion, I think he's going to land some 4, maybe 5-star guys, here in the next couple of months or within the next year, because like you said, it's that intensity. It's that will to, all right, if you come here, I'm not only am I going to make you a better player, but you're going to graduate and we're going to win here.
Yeah.
So, but your senior year though was pretty darn close to not happening. So,
right.
So you guys just start camp, and then not even two or 3 days into camp, you guys then find out there's no season.
Mm-hmm.
So what was going through your mind at that point?
Man, it was so much going through my mind because it was so much going on. It was the George Floyd stuff, all the stuff going on with society and stuff, and then COVID going on, and then worrying about a season. So I was on the committee, the Big Ten committee for anti-hate, anti-race coalition. I was on the committee trying to figure out if we were going to have a season, how could we have a season and stuff. And I was just like, man, like this is looking rough. Like, I don't know if we're going to be able to do it. And I was already talking to the coaches. I'm like, honestly, like I don't know if I'm gonna even be able to play this season because of everything going on. Because my big thing was eligibility. Because at that time I never had COVID. So if I was exposed and caught COVID, I would have missed 4 weeks of the season, like guaranteed at that time 4 weeks. And I was like, that's half of our season. That's half of, because at that time we knew we were going to have a shortened season. So I'm like, man, that's half of my season. Like I can't do that. Like with no eligibility, no chance of coming back. I could have 2 extremely good games and 2 average games, and that's the only tape I got from my last year. And so I'm like, I was like telling like, let me just hold off. Let me just keep talking in these committees. Seeing what we can get. Seeing what they're gonna be able to do for us. And then they had let us know, I want to say it was the middle towards the end of August. And when they had let us know, I'm like, I'm playing. Like they gave me everything I needed to see to get me to play. They gave us eligibility. They gave us protection for COVID, daily testing, support. Like if you were to get COVID on campus or in another state, everything was taken care of. So I'm like, man, I'm playing football now. Like that's all I need to know is that I'll be safe and I'll be safe. So it was tough though. It was tough.
I can't even imagine going through all that. And just like you said, everything that was going on with, society, with George Floyd, who got justice today, by the way.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then you talk about COVID-19 and having to do daily testing every day, and then practice, and then get tested again. Like I don't know how you guys, especially you. I don't know how you handled all of that, especially the COVID-19 and the daily testing. If it was me, Antjuan, honestly, I would be like, yeah, I don't know how I'm going to do this. All the stress and anxiety that surrounded that, but you guys made it happen. You guys made it happen.
And what's a little I'm not gonna say bad or anything was I feel like athletes from professional all the way down, if you played through COVID, if you played through a COVID season, like you just I feel like we deserve more respect than what we did, like, because that was an extremely hard season for all of us. Like we all had to play with no fans. We couldn't really see our families. We couldn't really do anything outside of our immediate bubble because it was a threat to us and a threat to the team. And so you didn't want to be that guy that goes out on a Saturday night or whatever, gets COVID, comes in Monday, gets 3-4 people infected, and then them 3 people are exposed to like 10 or so people. Now you got 20 guys sitting out for practice or whatever. You didn't want to be that guy. So we were all like on our toes, kind of like walking through eggshells and stuff. But like I just feel like people more so kind of looked at us as if like we're supposed to play, like we're kind of like entertainment instead of people doing what they love to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I definitely hear you on that. And I know that, and you could tell too, some teams got lucky and some didn't. Because if you look at, I can't remember which teams they were, but I think Maryland was one of them.
Maryland
was one of them. And I think Purdue was another one. And then you saw what happened with Michigan. I mean, that was
Ohio State was one too. But
Ohio State was. But and somehow they made it work out. But if you look,
made it work for them.
Yeah, exactly. But if you look at the SEC, they went to a full 10-game schedule, and yet if they had one person out, they were out a week. They would cancel the game for the week and then reschedule it down the line.
Right.
But if you look at like some of the conferences, like I thought the ACC, honestly, I didn't think they were going to make it through a full season.
Yeah.
The amount of cancellations they were having, but just seeing what the SEC was doing. And just how it's like, okay, we missed a game. Okay, bang, we'll pick it up before the SEC championship game.
Yeah.
It was just amazing, man, how everybody had to scramble at the last second, and players included. And I agree with you, man. Like, I really think that some of the student athletes last year did not get the credit that they fully deserve. Because, again, some of us didn't see the bigger picture. And like you said, the bigger picture is you were doing testing every day. You were on your toes every day. You couldn't go out. You had to be basically in your own bubble once practice was over. And kudos to you guys, man. And I know that was not an easy season for you, from everything that was going on to the final record. But I'll tell you what, though, man, there was one game though that made it extra sweet for you.
What?
And that was on Halloween, right across the street from Ann Arbor Pioneer High School.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I know for a fact, man, that made it extra sweet for you, no matter what the season was like.
Oh no, for sure. That game was like, it was like unreal. Like, man, it's hard for me to even find words for it. Like, I know for sure, like that was like the best game, best experience that I was a part of at Michigan State. Just being able to play in that game, have an impact, being a leader on that team, being able to bring Paul Bunyan back to East Lansing.
And you played out of your mind too, man. My favorite play from that game, other than when the clock hit zeros, my favorite play was when I think they had 3rd and goal. They ran that wildcat jump to the tight end.
Yeah.
And I don't know how you did this, man, but you just reached up as high as you could and you just knocked that thing down. And I was sitting on my couch going nuts because, number one, I knew it was you. And I'm like, yeah, that's my guy. But number two, I was like, that was the most athletic play that I've ever seen a linebacker do in a really long time. And that was just incredible, man. And that really kind of set the tone for the rest of the game. And you guys did not let up after that, man. Like, I know the score was 27-24, but let's be honest, man, that was a butt whooper.
No, yeah, that last drive, it was because we were up by 10. We were up by 10, and they got the ball with like 6 minutes left in the game, like 6.5 minutes or so left, and they had a 21 or 22 play drive from their like 15 or 20 yard line or something like that. And man, we were like the first like 6 plays. We're like, okay, like we're good, you know what I mean? And as the drive went on, they were going pretty quick, so we didn't have time to sub. But at the same time, they didn't have time to sub either. So both teams were out there just gassed. So I'm literally telling the guys, I'm like, if you guys tackle them, like keep them up, don't let them go out of bounds, keep them inbounds, don't run them to the ground, like keep them up, hold them up. Wait for everybody to come in, and we're just going to keep getting after that ball, seeing if we can stop them. Like, there's no way they're going to drive the field on us and score. But we're all just so gassed and tired, they ended up storming with, like, 3rd and goal or something like that from the 1 yard line. But they literally left a minute and like 20 or something like that left on the clock. So once they had did that, I was like, yeah, this game is pretty much over, really. Like we just gotta not give them the ball back on offense. But no, it was good though. It was a crazy game.
And like I said, man, it was sweet for you, homecoming for you. And I don't care what he says. Joe Milton knew who you were that day, man. I don't care what he said in that press conference. He definitely knew the name Antjuan Simmons that day.
Oh no, yeah, he had to for real. I was like because I had got back to the locker room and Rocky did media before me, and Rocky came right up to me after media. He was like, "Hey, Joe Milton, he had said this about you, like, da da da." I'm like, man, huh? I'm like, okay, one, you just lost. Two, I made quite a few plays on you, like I don't understand like why you'd be talking trash or anything. One, I don't understand why you're talking trash after a loss anyway, and then two, why you talking to a guy that literally made plays on you, like against you personally, like so like I just really didn't get it. You know what I mean? I didn't understand it really.
And like you said, we got Paulie B back. That's all that matters. And
Right.
Take your medicine and move on, man. I mean,
Yeah, exactly.
That's what a good loser does. You just take your medicine, move on, and you learn from it. And you don't let it happen again. That should be every athlete's mentality. Don't talk trash about the guy who just whooped you in this game. Go back, take the loss, take it on the chin, go back, watch the film, and then get them back the next time you get them.
Exactly.
But you were nothing but class after that, man. And that's the one thing I've always enjoyed about watching your career and getting to know you, man. It's just you're just a class act, man. You are a class act all the way, and you definitely represent Michigan State University and the football program with nothing but class, man. So it's definitely been an honor to know you. Last two questions I want to ask you, and then we'll get to the fun part. How do you see the future for the program now? Now that you've had a full year, well, I won't even say a full year under Mel Tucker because technically it was 6 months because you didn't get spring practice or any of that fun stuff. So, but after being under Coach Tucker for a season, getting to know him, is the program in good hands for the future?
Oh yeah, for sure. For sure. Like I said, ain't no coach that wants to win as much as he does. He's got all the right pieces around him. He's literally doing everything for the players possible. He's got a new dietitian in there. He's got one of the best strength staff, if not the best strength staff in the country. Coach Novak, Coach Powell, Coach Guess, Coach Porter, Coach Rick, all of them are doing a heck of a job in the weight room. The nutritionists, the academics, the position coaches, assistants, like everybody from top to bottom, they have they're grade A's. You know what I mean? Like they show up, they have high expectations of you. You know what I mean? They're giving all the players everything they need to be successful. So I still talk to a few guys and I tell them all the time, I'm like, man, like you guys are fortunate. Like he's literally giving you everything you need to be successful. Like everything you need. Like you can't sit here and say, I'm not big enough, or I can't do this in the weight room, or I'm not doing this on the field right. This is and the third, because he's putting everything they need around him, like everything. Yeah. Like, there is no excuses for us for you guys now, like none.
And I'm excited, man. I'm excited to see what they do this year. I'm excited. He's getting a lot of transfer guys from the portal, but they're not just guys from the portal. They're talented individuals too, that were either didn't do a whole lot their freshman year, or guys we recruited in the past in Michigan State that could have came here. No, like I'm excited, man. As a fan, I'm super excited. As an alum, I'm super excited. So, I agree with you, man. They're doing all the right things right now, and let's see what happens. But I think they're definitely in a good spot, and I'm excited for them to kick off come this fall. All right, last question. Absolutely, man. So last question I want to ask you. So by the time this episode comes out, it'll be next month in May. Mm-hmm. So by the time this airs on radio, radio.com, which is now odyssey.com, Spotify, and iTunes. The NFL draft will already been over. So you will be drafted. You know, I'm calling it. You're going to get drafted. I don't know where. That's the fun part. You don't know where. But, you know, just real quickly, talk about the process that you're going through right now, talking to NFL teams, interviews, and also also what's an NFL team going to get from Antjuan Simmons, whoever drafts you?
You know, get a leader, guys who are going to do things right, a competitor. I want to compete. I want to win. I want to dominate. I got a chip on my shoulder. You know what I mean? So I want to show people what I'm capable of.
And you're definitely going to show them, man. I mean, it's that Spartan dog mentality. It's that chip on the shoulder. Whoever drafts you, man, whoever gets you, they're going to get a heck of a player. But like I said, they're getting an even better person as well. And like I said, you represent Michigan State, Ann Arbor Pioneer, and your family with great pride and passion and class, man. And, you know, like I said,
you, man. I appreciate it. I was literally telling my pops about you earlier. I'm like, man, he's first player ever in D1 history, autistic player, being on the spectrum, scholarship, like everything, man. Like he's killing it. Like, you know, big time alumni. Everybody knows him. Done magazines, got his own book. It's really nothing like he hasn't done. I mean, so it's actually pretty cool, you know, that I get to do an interview and stuff with him. And my dad was like, no, that is pretty cool. That is cool.
No, I appreciate you, man, and I always will. I do owe you a signed copy of that book when it comes out. So wherever you get drafted, you just tell me what facility to send it to, and I'll make sure you get it, man. I'll definitely make sure. But again, I appreciate all your support, man. So, all right, we're going to get to the fun part of the podcast now. So I got 10 rapid fire questions for you. These are serious questions. These are funny questions. So question number one, this is a question I always ask my guests that are on the Center podcast. Question number one, strawberry or grape jelly?
Man, strawberry.
All right. Number two, Pizza House or Pizza Hut?
I don't even eat too much pizza, but I'm gonna go with Pizza Hut.
Didn't want to go with the popular destination of pizza in Ann Arbor or East Lansing, huh?
Oh no, I ate at Pizza House a few times, and just for myself, I go in there and spend like almost $40. And I'm like, oh man, yeah, I can't be doing that.
Oh man, but it was good pizza though, right?
Oh no, for sure it was. For sure, it just wasn't good to my wallet.
Question number three. Who is your favorite superhero and why?
I say Hawk. I just love the Hawk. Like, just having like that switch, you know, where he's like just a normal dude, and some, you know, makes him mad. But I like the new Hawk more though. Not the in-game Hawk though, when he like turns soft and mushy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I ain't like that. But
the old school Hawk.
Yeah, yeah, I like that guy. Yeah.
Oh man. Question. I'm a big Thor guy. I don't know why. I just love Thor. Maybe it's because he's goofy and he's got a hammer that brings thunder down from the sky.
No, Thor's sweet. He's sweet. Him and Captain America. I ain't gonna lie, Captain America probably one of my top 2 or 3 when he picked up the axe. I say, yeah.
For me, it's Iron Man. Iron Man's number 1 for me because I love Tony Stark and his cockiness and his sarcasm. Yeah. Thor, and then obviously Captain America right after that. So, I mean, good group of superheroes right there.
For sure.
Question number 4, your first celebrity crush.
Man, I say Jax Teller off of Sons of Anarchy.
Okay.
Yeah, I had got into Sons of Anarchy a few years ago. I think it was my sophomore year, and Jax was like my favorite like actor or whatever at that time. And I'm like, man, he's killing this. He's killing this this acting position right here. Like, I was like, man, this real.
I love it, man. All right, I'm going to put you to the test on this one. Best motivational speaker not named Anthony Ianni.
let me see. Et
Yep.
et was my guy growing up. Like, man, et like was my guy growing up. He was like all I listened to for real. Then I like Inky Johnson.
Inky's good too.
um who else? Oh man, I forgot his name. We had one guy. He had came into the program. He's a quarterback, I think, at Marshall. I think it was Marshall. Oh, he had came in. I forgot his name though. And he had killed it. He was talking about he had been to prison. And he was a Division I quarterback. He started a whole year and then just started partying and just went down the wrong path and went to jail and went through a bunch of adversity in jail and then ended up after a few years of being in jail, he ended up like being like one of like the dudes in jail like that you just don't touch. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like everybody loved him.
Huh.
He got out, started doing speaking, like guest appearance and stuff, like speaking to people and whatnot. And man, he had came in and he had like lit it up, you know, like he had everybody in there wired, locked in. I just can't remember his name. I don't know why.
I'm gonna Google it as soon as we get off, as soon as we're done here, because I want to find out who it is.
No, you definitely should. You gotta listen to his story. He was talking about coffee beans, eggs, and carrots and stuff. He was applying all that to like life in prison and stuff. When he first started talking, we was like, what? And then by the end of it, we was like, oh yeah, yeah, we're gonna be the coffee bean.
Man, I'm definitely gonna check that out now. Question number 6: your favorite food to cook?
I say shrimp. Like I love cooking shrimp. You can do a bunch of different stuff with it. You can fry it, you can saute it, boil it, pretty much anything. Really put whatever seasonings you want on it. Or you can keep it simple, just throw a little salt, pepper, and butter and stuff on there. You know, you can never go wrong with it. Like never.
I love it, man. Question number 7: your dream vacation?
Say probably like Paris or
Okay.
Paris or some like tropical like remote place or something like that. You know what I mean? Just
Okay.
something I'll just be able to get the experience. I think Paris would just be cool though, just to be able to see what's the Eiffel Tower, I think it is. And then just being there, you know, for the experience.
Very good choice. Question number 8: PlayStation or Xbox?
Xbox all day long.
Okay.
Xbox.
Question number 9: your favorite book or magazine to read?
Man, what's the Hate You Give?
Okay. Okay.
The Hate You Give. That was one of the best things I had read. Like that was a really good book. I actually still had that book, and my little brother was at home a few months ago, and he actually took the book from me. So
You better get it back.
no, for real though.
And last but not least, question number 10: who do you admire the most?
My mom and my dad. My mom, just everything like, you know, she's done for us. Just how strong she was. Like she literally raised, I wouldn't say, she raised us through some of the most critical years of our lives, you know, teenage years all the way up to the beginning stages of adulthood. And she killed it, you know what I mean? Couldn't have done a better job than my dad, just because everything he's been through. And now just being around him every day, being able to talk to him, pick his brain, kind of understand who he was as understanding more of who he was, you know, growing up through everything he's been through and how prison affected him, like just everything really. And it's just like man, like wow, I got like two amazing people as my parents, you know, that I get to come home to. and just eat their food and munch off of them.
I love it, man. I love it. All right. Last thing I'm going to have you do before we end this. I do this with all my guests, and I want you to do it.
Mhm.
This is your moment to shine, baby. Your moment to shine.
I'm nervous.
Yeah, you'll be fine, man. Like I said, all the interviews I seen you do in the 2 years you've been at Michigan State, you being a captain, you got this, man. So I asked all my guests to do this. Please give our listeners your positive message for the week.
Most of the time we wake up, we're tired, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do it or whatever. I'd say attack whatever you're going to do with the intent that you're trying to kill it. You know what I mean? Like, just whatever it is, like, go as hard as possible, especially when you don't want to do it, especially when you're tired and you're feeling down and stuff, because afterwards, that's what's going to make you feel better. You're like, you get to take that card off the stack. You know what I mean? Like, hey, that's done. I'm done with that for the day. Yeah, that's what I say. That day you're feeling down, or if you're feeling down now or tomorrow or whenever that is, the very next thing you do, try to kill it. Just go hard and attack it, because I guarantee you'll feel a lot better, and it sets the tone for the next thing you have up.
I love it, man. Ladies and gentlemen, my guest, former Michigan State football player, soon to be NFL player, the classiest guy you'll ever meet, Antjuan Simmons. Antjuan, man, thank you so much for coming on. It's been an honor and privilege. And you already know, man, I got your back for life. Spartan brothers, Spartan dogs for life, my guy. I love you, bro.
Man, thank you. I appreciate it, man. Nothing but love. We're gonna have to swap some gear. I'm gonna send you some sign stuff. Just hit me up. I got you.
Hey, you give me a signed jersey. I'll give you one of my Michigan State ones signed. Let's make that deal right now. Wherever you go, man.
I got you. I can set something up. Shoot, I still got my jersey all the way back to high school. I don't even know. I think I got like 2 of them too. So I don't even know. They just sit in my closet right now.
Oh man, I love it. Well, bro, thank you again. You are awesome, man, and wishing you nothing but the best, man.
Thank you. I appreciate it. All love. You already know.
Thanks, man. I want to thank Antjuan Simmons for coming on to the Center podcast today. Just a great conversation, man. We got to talk about a lot. Talk about his life growing up in Ypsilanti and Ann Arbor. Talk about his dad and that situation, his high school career, his experiences with Coach D and Mel Tucker, and what he expects, what an NFL team is getting from him eventually when he gets picked up, wherever that is, whether it's in the draft or outside the draft. But again, I'm super excited for him. Nothing but love for my guy, Antjuan Simmons. And so as I was doing this interview with Antjuan today, as I mentioned, we went over a lot of stuff today. We went through a lot of incredible stories, but there was one thing that really stood out to me during our interview today. And oddly enough, it's something that I want to leave with you guys, the listeners, my positive message for the week. Antjuan talked about when he was a younger kid, when his dad was in prison, he was so angry and frustrated and upset about the situation that, he found something that made him just release all that anger, stress, and anxiety. And that was the boxing workouts he did. And I immediately thought about my experiences and my struggles in high school, whether it was dealing with the doubters, the disrespect from people, all the homework, the stress and anxiety that comes with being a student athlete in high school. I thought about my times I had to deal with that and how I was able to kind of just relieve myself and go to my own happy place, which was the basketball court. So I would take my mom's car keys, like I talked about with Antjuan, and then just go to the Okemos High School gymnasium for 2 hours and just shoot, because that was my happy place to get away from the world. And just like with Antjuan, he used boxing as a way to get away from the world. So my message for everybody listening today is, if there's that coping mechanism, if you will, if there's that stress relief that you have in life, if there's something that relaxes you, helps you get away from the world, all the stress and anxiety you have in life, helps you go to your happy place, if you will, use that coping mechanism to the fullest of its ability. And even though for me, I'm not in basketball anymore, But some of the coping mechanisms I have, especially being on the autism spectrum where I'm all stressed out and I can't take a lot of things at once, some of the coping mechanisms I have now are, I'll go to the gym and lift weights, because I could throw weights around and just be angry and then just let all my anger and stress and anxiety out just throwing weights around. I'll go for a 4.5 mile walk in my neighborhood because it's an hour and 10-minute walk for me to be able to be by myself and just get away from everything. I'll go, just be in a room by myself. I'll listen to music, whether it's, if I'm angry, upset, I'm listening to heavy metal, hard rock. If I need to relax, I'm listening to that light hip hop R&B, Boys to Men back in the late 90s, Seal, Kissed by a Rose, just stuff that'll just help me relax and settle down. So my advice to everybody is if you have that coping mechanism that helps you relieve that stress and helps you release all that anger, use it to the fullest of its ability, because it's going to be so helpful in the long run. Because now you can go to your happy place, you can go to your safe space, like Antjuan said, and just relieve everything, relieve all that, just release it all out, let it all out, just get it all out of your system. And then once you're back to yourself, once you've been to your safe place, get back at it. And again, if you get angry or upset about something, again, go back to that safe place and be you for a little bit. There's nothing wrong with just being you in your own little safe space. Because again, if you don't have a safe place, find one, no matter what it is. Because I've always felt like if you don't have that safe place, if you don't have that coping mechanism and everything keeps like building up inside of you, you're going to find a point in time where you let that anger and stress out at the wrong place at the wrong time. So, but more importantly, just know that, and what I love with Antjuan is that despite everything that was going on, he always leaned on that support. He always leaned on the fact that there is hope and that the future is going to be brighter no matter what the obstacles are. So that's my positive message for the week. Thank you guys so much for joining me. And again, thank you again to former Michigan State football player Antjuan Simmons. Our next episode on the Center Podcast, we are having Mr. Hollywood himself. No, I am not talking about Hollywood Hulk Hogan, not even close. I'm talking about Mr. Hollywood, my guy, my former teammate, former basketball player at Michigan State, Delvon Rowe. Hope you guys tune in for that one. Again, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Peace and love, everybody. Talk to you soon.
Anytime you're shortcutting it, you're probably cheating some people. Players play. Tough players win.